this conversation is about entrepreneurship in music, and I think that's a topic that's very important for anybody who aspires to be a musician or producer, artist, whatever. And I brought Edwin Cox, co-founder of West One Music Group, and they've done some magnificent work. 30,000 copyrights in the catalog, 10,000 more musical works. They operate with 600 composers worldwide, and here we are having this one-on-one with you today. So just to get started, I just want you to give perspective of how you got started in the music industry and how you started West One.
Yeah, no problem. So I guess the first thing to say, if you guys are songwriters and producers and artists in this room, you guys are all entrepreneurs as well. So I mean, what you guys do as individuals is, you're running your own businesses, you're creating your own opportunities, and really it's you guys and your passion as well, which is I think a huge part of being an entrepreneur, is that sort of passion and that dedication to trying to achieve something. So my sort of starting in music was actually through my sister. So my sister was in a girl band. I'd always had this great passion for music, and she got so far as to get a record deal on the table with EMI, and so she was at this point of breaking as an artist, and I was actually at school, college, doing business and finance, which is quite boring. And I was lucky enough to get a sort of part-time job in the studio where she was doing her albums. So I ended up working in the studio part-time and managed to convince the producers that I should stay on. And I think at that time, I was paid £250 a month or something. It was cash in hand to go and to get to work in the studio. And so really that was the first, for me, getting into the music industry. And at that time, we were actually lucky enough to be working for a guy called Tom Watkins. And Tom Watkins was a big music manager in the UK. And he was an entrepreneur himself, actually. I mean, he started off at college doing art and design. And actually some of the early Frankie Goes to Hollywood album covers and designs were his. And he, throughout the design process, he met the Pet Shop Boys and went on to manage the Pet Shop Boys. And that was him crossing over, I guess, into management. And then throughout the 80s and 90s, he created bands like Ross and other bands like that. So he was quite an interesting character to work with.
So how did you start West One? What was the seed? How did you even get to that point to where you had partners and you wanted to start this?
So the beginning was in the studio, obviously, and so my background is engineer, so I sort of grew up through the sort of engineering process. So I guess the beginning for me was
the artist and being independent. I know it crosses a lot of people's minds to start their own label or their own publishing company. Can you give a little bit about your opinion, if you think that's a good idea or a bad idea, and go a little bit into detail about what the cons and pros are?
Yeah, I think that's back to what you were talking about earlier, is around deciding what you want to do with your life. And if you want to be a publisher, great, but if you really want to be an artist or a composer, then that's where your focus really should be. And this, I haven't really wandered around here, but I'm sure there's lots of people that help with admin as well. And actually, your relationship with ASCAP is really important too. There's a lot of people within the ASCAP community. Patrick used to work for ASCAP. They're on your side as well. That's your membership society, and they can help you with a lot of the collections. They have reciprocals all around the world, so you don't have to do too much yourself, really. And I guess, unless you want to make a big jump and change run a business.
Thanks.
John Lopez, I'm an attorney. I'm just curious. I didn't know if I heard it. What countries is West One active in?
So we're active. We've drawn most of Europe, pretty much all of Europe, all of continental Europe, UK, Kong and Thailand, as John was talking about. And so we do, from Hong Kong, we do Singapore and mainland China, and then from Thailand, we just do Thailand and Malaysia together.
Do you find that the industries operate vastly different from each other?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's the exciting entrepreneurial bit, is like just going out and discovering new things, and that's part of the journey as well, is experiencing stuff and letting it influence you, as I say.
So what's the catalyst to you entering a new market then?
Either Universal or our lovely independent partner, or we see an opportunity.